What will be the fate of The Mandalorian Season 3? Will it tell the story of Din Djarin? That's what we'll discuss on today's video. Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars video. Today we will be looking at one of the massive reveals from the most recent episode of The Mandalorian, the Season 2 finale. So if you haven't seen that yet and you don't want to be spoiled, get off the internet and come back once you've watched it. As a note, there are certain parts of this video where I couldn't really get footage. It's just there's nothing to show. So where that's the case, I've included some really cool Star Wars Squadrons gameplay. I've been lucky enough to get to squad up with Sam Witwer a few times now. His username is Ramrod. You'll see him on screen here. But in this game alongside Sam, I also played with Star Wars Explained, the YouTuber I'm sure many of you guys know, Jay, who's the community manager that goes by Charlemagne, and Ian Fraser, who made the game, which is all very cool. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's talk about the big reveal at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, the Book of Boba Fett. So for those of you who missed this scene, and I wouldn't really blame you, the Mando actually had a sort of post-credits scene. Can't include it here because I'll get copyright flagged, but I'll include a couple of screenshots. Basically, we see Tatooine, we see Jabba's palace. Funny enough, we see Bib Fortuna, Jabba's former second-in-command, or at least one of his assistants. He's now got grotesquely fat, like Orn-free tall levels, which is kind of beautiful, and he's occupying the palace's throne. At least until Fennec Shand comes in and kills all his guards before the obese Twi'lek is murdered by Boba Fett himself, who takes the throne. The end of the post-credit scene says the Book of Boba Fett, premiering in December 2021. So this has been really confusing for Star Wars fans. I'm hoping we get some clarity from Lucasfilm about what's going on here. And the main sort of controversy is whether the Book of Boba Fett is actually the name of The Mandalorian Season 3, like is Din Djarin's story finished, or is the Book of Boba Fett something completely different? Well, today we'll look at all the evidence and I will give you guys my opinion. Alright, so as some background information, The Mandalorian Season 3 has been confirmed by Kathleen Kennedy to be premiering Christmas 2021. We don't know if that means Christmas Day, maybe Christmas Eve, or just in the days before the holiday, but my personal guess would be Christmas Day. Anyway, at that shareholder conference, we were also told that the three series of the sort of Mandoverse, and that's Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic, and The Mandalorian, are set to tell an interconnected story which will culminate in some major event. Unfortunately, we don't know when Rangers of the New Republic or Ahsoka will premiere. That would have made things a lot easier, but just the fact that they are things and that they will come together to tell a story. So based on that, I think you can probably see why a lot of people are confused. I mean, would Disney Plus really have two shows running in December? Two shows running concurrently if that was the case? Probably not. And I think that's one of the main arguments for this being The Mandalorian Season 3, although ultimately that's not what I believe. The other main argument is that this is specifically called the Book of Boba Fett, whereas The Mandalorian up to this point has been using chapters to designate episode titles. And of course, there's also the fact that Mando's story was wrapped up pretty nicely, at least temporarily, at the end of Season 2. I can reasonably see a case where Lucasfilm takes a maybe 1 or 2 year real life gap for Mando episodes featuring Din Djarin before returning to his series, maybe after an in-universe time jump as well. So that's the evidence for them being the same thing, but as I said, my opinion is that the Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian Season 3 are different things, and this is why. I'll go through a list that I have, then later talk about how I think they're going to work together. First of all, and I've got to update this section after recording to make some additions, most of the leaks that we've heard up to this point have indicated that the Boba Fett show will be something on its own. Deadline, for example, has been known to pretty consistently nail Star Wars news, and about a month ago they pointed out that the Boba Fett miniseries was filming at the same time or slightly before Mando Season 3 starts filming, and that they are separate shows. I've also been told by somebody who doesn't usually leak things publicly but has leaked things to me before privately that have always turned out to be correct, that Mando and Boba are completely different shows. And the other sort of Twitter Star Wars leakers that I follow, who generally are pretty accurate, seem to think that this is something different. To me, although book could indicate that it's more chapters of the same show, it also indicates something separate. A book is closed. It seems weird to me to split the Mando up into several different sub-books. And I also think it's weird that if this were Mando Season 3, that they wouldn't just make that clear, especially if it's also being released in December. Like, we already know Mando Season 3 is dropping on Christmas, or at least around Christmas. It seems weird to just vaguely state that Boba Fett is coming December without kind of keeping that same general date. So I don't think it's Season 3. There's a few other reasons that I'll briefly mention. The show is called The Mandalorian. It's not called Adventures of the Mandalorian and His Friends. Boba Fett wears Mandalorian armor. His father was a Mandalorian, but he himself is not a Mandalorian. If this were Bo-Katan, I think you could make a better argument. And continuing, there's also the fact that actors have talked about The Mandalorian Season 3 and their role within it. We've got some from Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Moff Gideon. We've got some recently from the Mandalorian stunt actor, who said specifically that Pedro Pascal will be in the next Mandalorian season and then he'll be in Season 3. One sort of neutral fact as well is that Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka, and the Mandalorian are said to culminate in a major event. I don't think the Mandalorian will be doing that through the Book of Boba Fett, but we also don't know what year these new shows are coming out, so it's very possible that the culmination happens in 2022, which could be Mando Season 4 or even later. So yeah, I think it's pretty clear at this point. I'm still waiting for an announcement from Lucasfilm, which I imagine we will probably get in the next week. I don't think it's helpful for their brand or for the Mandalorian brand to be confusion around this. Even if it's not going to hurt the show, I think if we knew that these were two separate products, it could increase the hype a bit. If I'm wrong, which of course there is a possibility, I will be a little less excited for The Mandalorian Season 3. I love Jabba's Palace. I think Tatooine's a really interesting location. I think it's honestly perfect for a show like this, and the idea of Boba Fett starting up a criminal empire is just amazing. I think it would be really cool to see kind of a smaller story about crime lords, not Sith and Jedi and whatever else, but I don't think I'm done with Din Djarin. I don't want to have to wait 2 years to see his story continue, and I don't want to wait 2 years to see Grogu or whoever else. My guess is that we will be getting both Mandalorian Season 3 and the Book of Boba Fett in December, but that the Book of Boba Fett will probably be a very limited or a special event series that will then lead up into The Mandalorian. So for example, if Mando Season 3 does premiere on Christmas Eve, that's the 24th, then we've got 3 Fridays which the Book of Boba Fett could inhabit, starting with December 4th. So that makes me really excited. I'm hoping that everything will turn out well. Either way, I mean, Boba Fett has really been won over as a new character in my eyes through this season. I wasn't excited about Boba Fett potentially returning. The idea of a bounty hunter slash Boba Fett movie, which has long been rumored since the Disney purchase of Lucasfilm, didn't necessarily have me excited either, but I think The Mandalorian did a great job of setting him up as a character, so I'm very, very excited to see what comes next. But guys, that's all for today. Until next time, please be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.